another video, and when I make it, it will be in the description below. Alright, here is a question. They say Tabang invested 7,000 into an account that offers 10% per annum compounded monthly for a period of 5 years. Then they asked us to calculate the effective annual interest rate. So the one that is on the sentence, the percentage that is on the sentence, whenever they tell us this one invested 10% or 15% or 13% per annum, maybe compounded monthly or quarterly or whatever they give us, it is always the nominal. That is the quoted one. The one they tell us is the nominal, but the effective one is what is the real percentage the person is gaining. They might be telling us it's 10%, but when you calculate, you find that it is maybe 10.97, right? And the effective interest rate is usually higher than the nominal. It can never be lower than the nominal. So remember, the effective interest rate is the real percentage the person is gaining, but the one they tell us in the sentence is always the nominal. So they ask us to calculate the effective, and the formula is 1 plus I effective, the interest rate, right? The effective interest rate is equals to 1 plus the nominal one. So it's usually given in this symbol. So usually what confuses people in this formula is this stuff. They are wondering whether they should substitute the power or something, or if this is an exponent. It's actually not an exponent. The whole thing is a symbol. This stuff actually means the nominal interest rate. So it's the nominal. So this stuff, don't worry about the symbol. So remember, this whole stuff means the nominal interest rate. Now you'll see by this example, we don't have to worry about n as though it's an exponent. It's not an exponent, right? It's just a symbol. And another thing that confuses people is this stuff. This n stuff, it's the number of times in a year. We don't care about the number of years or whatever. It's only about the number of times a year. So let's start substituting. I'll show you that part, for instance. So let's just substitute. So we have 1 plus. We don't have I effective. That's what they're asking us to find. And then we have 1 plus. So what is the nominal interest rate? The one they gave us, 10%. And you know we won't write 10. We'll divide by 100, which will give us 0.10, which is just 0.1. And then n is the number of times a year. Yes, the person invested for 5 years, but how many times a year? So it is how many times a year is the interest being gained. So they say it invested 7,000 into an account that offers 10% per annum compounded monthly. So monthly is what? It's 12 times a year. So we write 12 times. We write 12 times. So here we won't say 12 times 5. We won't say 5 times 12. It's not the number of years. It's just the number of times in a year. So this is how we substitute. So what confuses people is also this n. And remember, this n, sometimes it's not written as n, sometimes it's written as m in the formula. But it means the same thing. It means the number of times a year. If they say quarterly, we don't care about the number of times a year, no matter what year they give us. If they say quarterly, if they say compounded quarterly, it means we'll just substitute 4 times, because quarterly is 4 times a year. If they say semi-annually, it just means we'll substitute 2 and 2. Literally, n is the number of times a year. If they just say per annum, it means it's every year, right? So if it's every year, it's once a year. So it literally means we'll just substitute 1. So n is for the number of times a year in this case. So whenever using this formula of effective interest rate, n is always the number of times a year. So let's continue with this stuff. I'm not using a calculator actually. So this was what we substituted. So when we continue, we're just solving for effective interest rate. So it means it's going to be 1 plus 0.1, and then this is to the power of 12. And then we'll take this 1 to the other side because we want this to be the substitute formula. So this is going to be minus 1. And then we just have to type this and get what is in the calculator. So because I'm not using a calculator, I'm going to create a fake answer, right? I'm going to create a fake answer, but it's going to be a bit similar to what is in the calculator. So those who are watching can use the calculator. So when we type this, let's just say our answer was 0.12, let's say 35789. Let's just say this is what the calculator gives us. The calculator usually gives answers like that. It's not the end. You don't stop here. You have to multiply by 100, because remember, for the interest, whenever it's interest, we divide by 100, right? So now whenever we want to find the interest, we have to do the opposite. We have to multiply by 100. And when we multiply by 100, the answer is going to be 12 points, and then we have to round off 12.35. With it's gonna give us for 12.35, right? 35 7 8 9. Then we have to round off. So when you round off this stuff, it's gonna be 12.36%. So this is just an example, right? So then this would be the interest rate. So whatever the calculator gives you, you don't leave it like that. You always multiply by 100, and it's always going to be a 0 comma something. If it's 1 comma something, you know there's a problem or there's a mistake. And if any question that you have, please comment below. So we calculated the effective when we're given the nominal. So now I'm going to show you how to calculate the nominal when you're given the effective. So here is a scenario. Tabang invested into an account that offers 10.52% effective, right? And let's just say it's compounded monthly. Compounded monthly, or let's just say quarterly. Let's just say the person invested into an account, Tabang invested into an account that offers 10.52% effective compounded quarterly, right? Then they ask us to calculate the nominal interest rate. So how do we calculate it? Of course, the formula is 1 plus the effective interest rate equals to 1 plus the nominal interest rate. So let's substitute what we have. So we have 1 plus, we have the effective interest rate this time, but we won't substitute 10.52, of course. We will divide by 100, which means it's going to be 0.1052 equals to, we'll have 1 plus. So the nominal interest rate is what we're trying to find, right? So we're trying to find this, the nominal interest rate. So in place of m, we'll put 4, but because it's quarterly, but it doesn't mean it's to the power of 4. It's just a symbol, right? The whole thing is a symbol. It just means, it doesn't mean I to the power of 4. It's just a symbol. It means the whole thing represents nominal interest rate. So it's quarterly, right? So that's what we're saying for the and for the. If it was semi-annually, we would put 2. If it was monthly, we'll put 12, right? Because remember, these m's or the n's, if they the formula sometimes is m, sometimes is n, right? The m's and the n's represents the number of times a year. So now we're trying to find the nominal interest rate. So we have to make this the subject of formula. So how can we make it the subject of formula? First, we have to remove this bracket. So the bracket is there because of the exponent. So I'm gonna say the 4th root on both sides. 4th root, right? And then it's gonna be the 4th root of this stuff, 1 plus, okay, 1 plus this stuff. I just know it's gonna be this stuff. So we're gonna be left with this stuff, right? With 4th root, so 4th root cancels the power of 4. If it was to the power of 12 here, for instance, we would say the 12th root, right, on both sides, so that we can get rid of the 12. So to get rid of an exponent, you just use the root of it. So then we want to make this the subject. So what do we have to put move next? We have to put that to the other side. So it's gonna be this stuff 1 comma 1, something like this. So then it's gonna be subtract 1 is equals to the nominal interest rate. So now how do I make that the subject of formula? Whenever we have a fraction, we can just multiply on both sides. So this 4 is going to multiply the whole thing. So then this 4 cancels this 4. So now we're going to have 4 times this stuff there, the 4th root of 1 comma 1052 minus 1. Right, remember, whenever we multiply both sides by something, right, whenever we multiply both sides by something, it will always multiply everything on whatever side it's on. So the 4 will not multiply this only, it will also multiply the 1. That's why I put it in bracket. So then I finally made this the subject of formula, right? So this is the nominal interest rate. Remember, this is not to the power of 4. This just, the whole thing just means nominal interest rate. And then when you type this in the calculator, let me create a fake one. Remember, I'm not using the calculator. So let's just say the answer was 0.10. Let's just say 0.10. Let's just say 1111. Let's just say this was the answer when we typed in the calculator. So then we have to do the same thing. We have to multiply by 100. When we multiply by 100, then it means the nominal interest rate is going to be equals to 10.1111. So it just means the nominal interest rate is 10.11%. And that is it, right? Remember, this is not to the power of 4. The whole thing is just a simple nominal interest rate. So there we have it, and the nominal interest rate should be always lower than the effective interest rate. And the effective interest rate was 10.52. The nominal is this. This is just an example. I know that the nominal always has to be less than the effective interest rate. So that's what we have. If they give you the nominal and they want the interest, the effective interest, we're finding this one. If they give you the effective interest rate and they want the nominal, we're finding this one. You just have to know how to make this the subject of the formula. And if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that you can be able to receive more of this stuff.